But if they did that with Obama, what was the actual treason? Like, what is she stating is treason?
Well, so now I don't think she said treason. I don't think legally that's technically right. But someone might correct me on that. Maybe it's sedition or something. I don't know. I mean, like, I think treason. I think John Brennan did commit treason when he armed Al Qaeda in Syria, and Obama as well, with the rest of Obama and John Kerry and Brennan. I think that's literally treason, right? Giving aid and comfort to the enemy in a time of war. What Obama and Comey and Clapper did to Donald Trump is they framed him for treason. So what do you call that exactly? Framing the sitting U.S. president?
Barack Obama stepped back into the cultural spotlight thinking his Polish and perfect delivery could carry him forever. But Joe Rogan strips polish until all that's left is raw metal. The roast doesn't just poke fun at Obama's speeches, it dismantles the whole performance. Every dramatic pause, chin-up grin, and smug cadence becomes fuel for comedy, exposing the act as a perfectly lit stage with no substance.
This is the accusation. They're throwing around the word treason.
I hate to say this, but President Barack Obama, there is now incontrovertible evidence that he was the spearhead of a seditious conspiracy to subvert the will of the American people and overthrow the United States government back in 2016.
They're saying that Obama knew that Russia did not meddle in the election, did not have any impact in the election.
To Rogan, Obama is the irony behind the Hope poster, a man who sold himself as new but recycled the same old Washington script. Rogan compares him to a UFC fighter hyped up by promoters, strutting into the cage in flashy shorts and gloves, only to get knocked out in the first round. Not a legend. Just another overhyped main event collapsing under pressure.
Do you remember when they gave that speech, when he gave a speech on television, and everybody was like, fuck this? Mm-hmm. And then they it kind of just went away.
It was one of the most beautiful moments in modern American history. People really actually stood up and stopped a war from happening.
Today, I authorize the Armed Forces of the United States to begin a limited military action in Libya in support of an international effort to protect Libyan civilians.
If you're enjoying this video, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon. Rogan dives into contradictions. Obama branded himself for the people, yet walked out of the White House into a Netflix deal, a $65 million book contract, and mansions in Martha's Vineyard and Hawaii. Rogan cracks that it's hard to sell yourself as a humble community organizer while living on estates big enough to host a UFC card in the backyard. Obama didn't retire from power, he Monet-ized it.
Can I get a glass of water? I'm serious. I'm thirsty. Can I get a glass of water? This is not a prank.
You never seen it?
No.
Oh my God, it's amazing.
Oh,
it's amazing.
No.
He gets a glass of Flint tap water, and I swear to God, he drinks it like this.
Problem
He's
is solved?
bullshitting the world. Watch this.
Can I get some water? I really did need a glass of water. This is not a stunt.
Usually when something isn't a stunt, you have to say
It's
that.
100% a stunt. When was the last time a president stopped a speech to ask, can I get a glass of water?
The roast keeps circling back to Obama's obsession with being cool. Rogan paints him as the guy at a party with a cigarette dangling from his mouth, sleeves rolled up, pretending to blend in while secretly writing the guest list for the after-party. Obama's cool factor was never authenticity. It was a controlled performance, polished so hard it collapsed under its own weight.
When you look at the policies and the attacks on whistleblowers and drone strikes and all the other shit that happened during that administration and the coup in Russia, and there's a lot that's, from a foreign policy perspective, that's very similar to what George Bush was doing. But what they were doing was highlighting social justice issues that came about during his administration, largely obscured the fact that the foreign policies were very similar to what George Bush was doing.
Then comes the legacy. Rogan rips it apart like a highlight reel gone wrong. Guantanamo Bay still open, drone strikes expanded, healthcare a maze of premiums and loopholes. He doesn't attack policy like a pundit, he does it like a comic, showing how the truth sets up the punchline. Obama winning a Nobel Peace Prize before breaking a sweat. To Rogan, that wasn't an award. It was a pre-season participation trophy.
Absolutely must hold every one of these criminals accountable for the crimes that they committed. They are the most heinous crimes committed in American history.
but yet promoted this idea.
James Comey, John Brennan, Clapper, Rice, Biden was in the meeting. They briefed Barack Obama on Hillary Clinton's plan to, quote, tie Trump to Russia collusion lies. It consumed our national discourse for 5 years.
And then there's been some incredible clips of all these different news reporters, CNN and MSNBC, just saying over and over and over again, clear evidence of Russian collusion.
Hypocrisy is Rogan's favorite target. Obama campaigned on transparency but left behind a bloated surveillance state. He slammed Wall Street cash yet raised record amounts of it. He promised to end wars but expanded them with polite grammar and a friendly smile. Rogan compares him to a motivational speaker selling tickets to a seminar, hyping up hope and change, then walking out richer while the audience still has no jobs. Obama's speeches weren't blueprints. They were infomercials.
Obama did it, where he repeated that lie about Donald Trump talking about white supremacists, saying they're very fine people on both sides. Let's play it.
Said that there were very fine people on both sides of a white supremacist rally.
You had some very bad people in that group, but you also had people that were very fine people on both sides. And you had people, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally. But you had many people in that group other than neo-Nazis and white nationalists, okay?
That's crazy. I have never seen that last part.
The cult of personality gets shredded. Rogan says people still treat Obama like a sacred brand, nostalgia merch, hashtags, bumper stickers. He became the iPhone of presidents, sleek, shiny, overpriced, and obsolete the moment a new model dropped. Fans clung to the packaging even as the product malfunctioned. Rogan jokes about Obama's celebrity hangouts, Spotify podcast, and staged regular guy photos. Even Obamacare gets roasted like a gym membership where you pay double and still can't use half the equipment.
Is that the 2011 thing where Obama allowed people to use propaganda against United States citizens?
Hillary Clinton is and has been an outstanding public servant.
What was done then under Obama, effective repeal of it, was called the Smith Modernization Act.
She was a great Secretary of State for me.
At the time, the media and media control was seen as the linchpin crux of winning the Cold War, piping in pro-U.S. media influence.
Obama's affordable healthcare turned into a bureaucratic prank show. Citizens were the unsuspecting contestants. Rogan mocks his obsession with playlists and March Madness brackets, curating a summer Spotify list with more passion than fixing wages. Obama's famous "Let me be clear" becomes a punchline, since nothing that followed ever was. To Rogan, Obama's slow, theatrical speeches felt less like politics and more like a stand-up comic dragging out every punchline until the crowd walked out.
Increase the volume and go full screen.
What you know now, do you wish you had a third term? You know what, if I could make an arrangement where I had a stand-in, a front man or front woman, and they had an earpiece in, and I was just in my basement in my sweats looking through the stuff, and then I could sort of deliver the lines, but somebody else was doing all the talking and ceremony, I'd be fine with that.
We know he wasn't really running the country.
Yeah.
We used to think he was actually running the country, and now they're like, no, he didn't even see those executive orders. That was all auto pen.
Rogan hammers the irony. Obama's brand was built on being different, but everything stayed the same. Wars continued, Wall Street thrived, lobbyists remained. The only change was tone, Bush's anger repackaged as Obama's calm. Rogan calls it the greatest marketing scam in political history, repainting the same old house, slapping a new sign out front, and convincing people it was a mansion. Obama wasn't selling policy. He was selling himself and cashed out bigger than ever.
Trying to strongman or steelman it. I'm saying, like, would it be possible that Obama knew something that he could relay to them in the meeting?
Be an interesting thing to find. You know, that'd be interesting for a court proceeding.
But even if that's the case, it still doesn't align with the known facts.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Which is
a
problem.
Yeah. Well, it's not. Look, I think we'll see what comes of this. You know, which I'm not betting on anything coming of this, but there is something interesting. Look, there's a lot of things that happen after that. The real, to me, the true outrage of Russiagate is that they didn't stop.
That's where the roast hits hardest. Obama wasn't the man he sold himself as. Rogan pulls every thread until the myth unravels. The first narrative made him a symbol, But underneath was just another politician doing what the system wanted. Rogan compares it to a movie trailer with an epic tagline, but no movie behind it. The contradictions of bombing countries into freedom get framed like smashing your neighbor's car windows, then handing him a bus ticket as a favor. Brutal, absurd, and hilarious.
Like, Obama murdered American citizens with no charges. 2 of them, at least. That is illegal. That is very clearly illegal.
You're talking about drone strikes.
Yes, it was
suspected.
Well,
terrorists.
it was Anwar al-Awlaki and his son. Now, with the son, who was like 14 or 15, they came back and killed him a few weeks after they killed the father. Now, I believe they claim he was not the target of the drone strike, like that he was just collateral damage.
The drone program takes center stage. Rogan calls it the least cool thing a supposedly cool president ever did. A Nobel Peace Prize winner authorizing joystick assassinations while slow jamming the news. To Rogan, if anyone else did it, they'd be a war criminal. But Obama smiled while doing it, so people called it leadership. Then comes the economy. Wall Street recovered, but Main Street drowned. Media swooned over his playlists, suits, even a casual layup on the basketball court, turning basic PR into leadership fanfiction.
Every day. Trump-Russia collusion.
And many of those same people are still telling you what's true. Many of those same people are still in front of a camera telling you what's true.
Yeah,
and
they're
never
still
apologize.
That's right. Then they're the same ones up there going, we got to arm Ukraine till the end. We got to give Israel more bombs to drop on the Palestinians.
Are they even covering this? Like, how is MSNBC handling this Tulsi Gabbard revelation?
Or I think by changing their name to MS Now.
Rogan closes on the myth of Obama being above politics. Every move was calculated, every smile rehearsed. He didn't transcend Washington. He mastered it. Rogan compares him to a magician denying his doing tricks while palming cards in plain sight. The illusion worked because people wanted to believe. And now, Obama still lingers in politics like the guy who graduated but keeps showing up at prom. In the end, Rogan doesn't paint him as a monster, just ordinary. Not the icon. Not the savior. Just another politician who sold an image, played the game, cashed the checks, and never let go of the spotlight.